Without pain, how could we know joy? This is an old argument, but suffice it to say that the existence of broccoli does not, in any way, affect the taste of chocolate. Lliira is the goddess of joy, of happiness, of freedom, of dance, of release, and of festivals. She is also known as the Joy Bringer, as Our Lady of Joy, as the ever-changing goddess, and as the mistress of revels. Her domain is the tireless pursuit of wonderment, and of a free and a cheerful life. When Lliira manifests, it is first in the form of a swirling mass of smoke entwined with twinkling lights, before a 9-foot-tall woman jumps clear out of it in the midst of dance. She has pure blue eyes and long blonde hair with stripes of bright color through it. She wears flowing clothes of varied colors, chosen more for ease of movement than for style, for pride, or for modesty. A long trail of sparkling lights trails behind her as she moves, artfully and gracefully, twirling and dancing to music that only she can hear. During the time of troubles, when the gods were forced to walk the earth, Joaquin, the goddess of wealth, came up with an ambitious plan to sneak back into the celestial planes by temporarily sacrificing her divinity. Her good friend Lliira offered to hold onto her godhood and stepped into the role of administering to Joaquin's faithful, at least until she got back. And even though the goddess of wealth was gone for a really long time, Lliira stayed true to her word and never gave in to the temptation to absorb her friend's portfolio. When the Lady of Wealth finally re-emerged, Lliira joyfully returned her divinity. But by this time, much of Joaquin's church had come to prefer Lliira as their patron and gleefully joined the Lliran faith. This soured the relationship between the friends, and to this day this remains as Lliira's greatest sadness, for indeed her only crime was caring for her friends' worshippers too faithfully. Lliira's goal is to ensure that everyone is happy, and this requires a subtle skill of understanding that for each person, the path to joy is different. Some enjoy more and some enjoy less. Some may wish only for something to smash, and others for conversation or for companionship, or just to laugh. Indeed, one might think that her faith is shallow or frivolous, but Lliira takes happiness very seriously, viewing it as a divine gift to the world. For consider, what good is opposing darkness if you have no light to fill the space? When Lliira speaks to her followers, she does so by appearing to them in dreams, to emphasize the value of the personal and the ephemeral. With the chilling of relations between Lliira and her friend Joaquin, she is now closest to Malil, the god of music, and she visits him often in the domains of Dogma, the god of knowledge. Through Malil, she has also become closer with Dania, the god of writing, and she loves to teasingly interrupt his work. While Dogma, for his part, does not mind at all that Lliira refuses to recognize him as her superior, despite her spending so much time within his realm that she is often mistaken for one of his underlings. Lliira is also on and off again friends with Chares, the goddess of pleasure, with whom she happily shares her domain over festivals. And finally, though Lliira prefers to make friends rather than enemies, she cannot abide Leviatha, the goddess of suffering. Lyra's home is known as Brightwater, within Olympus, on the first layer of the plane of Arborea. She shares this domain with Sune, the goddess of love, and Timora, the lady of luck. There, Lyra's faithful may enjoy an eternity of celebration in the afterlife. Lliira is a lesser deity, and her chaotic good alignment represents her love of freedom over silly things like rigid laws. Her clerics tend to adopt the light, life, and the freedom domains, and she offers them the chance to turn and to destroy undead. Her favored weapon is a whirling star known as Sparkle, which her divine casters imitate by training in throwing stars known as shuriken, which follow the rules for a dart. Her holy time is the dawn, and her casters pray for spells at sunrise by rejoicing for the beginning of a new day. Her followers are known as Lyrans, and one of their most sacred rites is named Swords Cast Down, which involves placing weapons on the ground and burying them under a bed of flowers. Her primary festival is known as Lliira's Night, which is celebrated on the 7th of Flame Rule as summer starts to warm up. Though it should be noted that all festivals are worthy of a blessing from the Joybringer, even those festivals belonging to other faiths, as long as they spark joy. Though Lliira has been known to deny a blessing from festivals that have been marred by violence. For worthy celebrations, however, Lyrans will show up in their droves to offer a solemn ritual, a boisterous comedy, or a wild dance, or indeed whatever befits the occasion. For indeed, all rites that evoke happiness are equal in the Joybringer's eyes. Though the appearance of a rainbow is taken as the greatest blessing that Lliira may bestow on any occasion. And after the revelry has ended, whatever riches and whatever offerings that were gathered are distributed to the poor, or otherwise used to spread joy among those who are unable to attend. Her clerics are known as Joybringers, or as Joy Dancers, and they follow a philosophy known as the Elysian Rigadoon, which emphasizes the value of joyful movement and good acts above all else. Their clerical garb consists of patchwork colors distributed unevenly across different body parts, or just quilted all together into an explosion of color. Though Lliira's favorite colors of orange, yellow, and red tend to feature prominently. Priests of all genders wear their hair long and accessorize liberally, sporting variations upon all traditions. And there is no hierarchy among her followers, and every devotee is considered equal to every other. Her faith ranks among the major religions in Cormia, and also across the length and the breadth of the entire Vilhon Reach, and within the Chondlewood. Her followers also attempt to make footholds in tyrannical kingdoms to bring joy to the oppressed. And her popularity is a thorn in the sides of the rulers of Bazantur, the city of 1,000 temples within Thay, and likewise within the city of Hillsfar, within the Moonsea. Her greatest temple is known as the Palace of Holy Festivals in Selgaunt, the capital city of Sembia. But she also has the Oren Saldar, a temple dedicated to both Lliira and Joaquin within Kalimshan, plus the Cry of Joy within Hill's Edge, a town on the edge of the Sunset Vale in the Western Heartlands, the Hall of Laughter in Melvaunt, the City of Swords within the Moonsea, the Hall of Success within Procampur, the holy city of Ogma within the Vast, the High Hallowed Festival Hall within the city of Ahorn in Sembia, the Temple of Good Cheer in Waterdeep, and the Temple of Lliira in Bazantur, and the Temple of Joy within Crimor, the caravan city in Arm, which is an amphitheatre converted into a temple celebrating Lliira, Melil, and Sune. Her holy orders include the Order of the White Violet and the Order of the Leaping Stag, two famous dancing troupes, the latter of which is particularly well known for evoking the movements of animals in their performances. There's also the Festbringers, who are an order dedicated to enhancing the joy of festivals the world over, while the Prophets are a powerful sect, formerly of Joaquin, who now embrace the worship of Lliira. Finally, the Joybringer also sponsors a knightly order, known as the Order of the Scarlet Mummers, who are dedicated to hunting down and slaying the followers of Leviatar, the Mistress of Pain. Their battle prowess and their assassination skills are feared and respected, and they incorporate dance into combat and the use of their signature bladed boots, being footwear containing concealed, spring-loaded knives. In my world, joy bears a complicated relationship with trauma. When divine magic disappeared during the divine spell plague and half the world went to war and died to preventable diseases and madness flourished, hedonism formed an escape from the harsh realities of a world where hope wandered out of sight. When the Inquisition reignited the connection to the gods and the world was saved, the generation who had lived for the moment now put aside childish things and began the serious business of defending all of the cultural institutions, the laws, and the social taboos that kept their darker natures at bay. But a new generation was born that knew nothing of the world of which their parents and grandparents deigned not to speak of, save in an inarticulate aversion towards pleasure for its own sake. They saw their parents embrace work as if it were a religion, no matter how debasing the labor, and who loathed idle hands, and yet the younger generation, they still could not name the trauma that trickled down generational lines. Yet, with an unspoken clarity, they saw with clear eyes that the old orders are now obsolete, with half of the population of Faerun gone. Now there is farmland and food enough for all to live comfortably, and no one should be beholden to the shadows that lie over their elders' eyes. Joy, happiness, freedom, and movement. The divine precepts of the Elysian Rigadoon uplift the hearts of the young as they try to bring it into the world. The philosophies of the Elysian Rigadoon are as follows. Every day is another movement in the joyous dance of life, rapturous and lived without care or frustration. Always seek joy through bringing joy to others. Festivals should be open to all, where the lost, the lonely, the exiled, the outlaws, the shunned, and even your foes may join in celebration. And finally, let others find and follow their own desires, as indeed you shall never fail to follow your own.